Hey everybody, welcome back to the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. I'm your host, Gordo Gambles, and welcome back to the full card breakdown. This time for UFC Vegas 80. I can't believe we're already there, but we are back at the Apex for another bout of UFC action. We got 12 fights to break down. I don't want to waste too much time, but I will say, appreciate you guys checking into the channel again. We did have a nice week off, and you know what? Sometimes it's good. You know, you missed the fights that I did this Saturday, but for those who don't know, I am down here getting my doctorate in the States, so having a week off to get ahead on tape and relax a bit, being able to study on those days wasn't too bad. And you know what? Got to see a Bills win as well. Can't complain too much. But as soon as that week's over, you're excited for the fights to be back, and I am pumped for this card. As always, we're going to break it down from a DraftKings and a betting perspective. All 12 fights should be timestamped down below, so please hit the like button down below, subscribe to the channel, show some love, and let's talk some fights. Let's do this. We get the fight night started with the 12-8-1 Montana de la Rosa versus the 12-6 JJ Aldrich. What is a short notice bout for someone like JJ Aldrich? Now that I bragged about the Bills win, I can turn this hat backwards and dive in to this compelling 125 matchup. And you know what? It's funny because the records don't really indicate a high-level matchup, but I do think both these girls have the ability to bring a fun fight to the plate. Aldrich is fresh off of her first UFC finish, all power to her. Against Aoriqileng, it doesn't matter. She got one on the board. Sometimes she's got to see it go through the hoop, right? And she was able to do so. Montana de la Rosa, 12-8-1. Although she has fought amazing level of competition, she has fallen short. Tatiana Suarez, Macy Barber, a draw against Murata Silva. I mean, those losses are against amazing level of competition. Once she getting that step back down, KO win over Ariane Lipsky, decision win over Romero Borello, and then 3 subs to start her off her career, Kasim Ostevich Marks. This girl I do think is talented. And yes, she's facing that step of competition. You have to give her credit for that, but I do like her style. I don't think she is the crispiest striker out there, but she's very aggressive, likes to get the fights down to the mat, and she does average 1.94 takedowns per 15 minutes. Add in her height and reach advantage here, I do think she's going to utilize her physicality to go out there and try to get it to the mat and try to win this bout in those dirtier exchanges, whether it be on the ground, whether it be in the clinch. JJ Aldrich on the flip side of things, short notice, which is never too good really, but someone who is going to prefer to strike. She is probably going to be the cleaner striker. She does have a better tendency to throw volume, throwing over 4 strikes per minute, but she's okay to pitter patter. She doesn't have much KO power. She doesn't have much of a ground game either, although she was able to stop some takedowns in Blanchfield early on. She's someone who wants to keep it on the feet, and I do think if this is a 15-minute kickboxing affair, Aldrich could have success. But if we're talking about who is the better mixed martial artist, who has a full camp, who has fought a better level of competition, who is going to be the aggressor looking to win optics, it's probably going to be Montana de la Rosa, and for that reason, I'm going to pick her in a very, very close fight. JJ also does slow down as the fight goes on, and considering not only the aggressiveness, but the cardio and the youth advantage for Montana de la Rosa, I do think she's able to have success, and I am going to pick her to win this bout. With much conviction? Not really. I think that this is one where I'm leaning towards de la Rosa. Wouldn't be surprised if Aldrich was able to win on the feet, but Rosa is the pick here. On DraftKings, though, it's de la Rosa if you're going to pick one of them, and de la Rosa all day. Montana does have wins where she scored 111, 93, 81, 111 again. She does have takedown upside and the aggression in this fight. Whereas Aldrich, I mean, aside from that Naliang performance, maybe one of the worst DraftKings scores of all time. In her wins, she scored 67, 80, 85, 68, and 58. Those are not the best metrics. She doesn't have much takedown upside, doesn't really have much finish upside aside from that last matchup, and she's not someone you necessarily want to go out there and trust in your DraftKings lineups. For that reason, I am picking Montana de la Rosa. She is my preferred side on DraftKings, and she is someone who I'm picking to win this fight, although there are better fights to target. Not necessarily the best matchup to go out there and wager our money, considering it is lower level MMA, but I do think she wins this fight. Give me Montana to get the card started. We keep it going with the 14-3 Nate Maness versus the 10-1 Mateus Mendonca. Shootbox fighter versus an absolute dog in Nate Maness, both going down to 125. Some very rangy guys, especially Nate Maness for this weight class, and one that's going to be a very, very fun matchup. You're not going to want to miss this one. Maness has his flaws. He's someone who is not the most defensively sound. He can be hit, he can be taken down, he can be controlled, but the guy has a heart of a lion. He will keep going through it. He broke his jaw, and I thought he was really kind of out against Gravely, but he came back, fought through adversity, and what he does have is very good rangy weapons, a ton of determination, and some solid power on the feet as well. I mean, yeah, you never really want to trust a guy who absorbs 4.65 strikes per minute, 40% striking defense, but he is someone who is going to fight for your money. He is someone who will go out there and shoot takedowns if he needs to, and someone who really always has a puncher's chance. At 125, how's the cardio? How's the chin? There are a lot of questions, but we know he's going to be a dog, and we know he's going to go out there and make it a fun scrap. Mateus Mendonca on my side is probably the rightful favorite here. Shoot the box guy, a very fun, exciting style. Solid on the ground, very explosive spinning kicks and fun to watch in that regard, and I do think he is going to be the better optics. The visual favorite, someone who is going to have the ability to be flashy. And considering he's only 24, there's a long way to go for a guy who is a flashy guy out of a good camp, making him kind of the A side in this matchup. I think when it comes down to skill, Mendonca is the guy here. Better technically, more fun to watch, better optics, has the power to really take advantage of the chin of Nate Maness. But if we talk about the way that we see this fight playing out, whether it be the resiliency of Maness, whether it be the low level of competition for Mendonca, where it be the incredible 5'10" fighter at flyweight here, it's not like Mendonca's a home run. It's not like he's a lock play here. And there are a lot of questions to be asked. Considering the fact that not only is he super explosive on the feet, but has that shoot the box camp, has that ground game in his back pocket as well. We've seen him go out there, get decision wins, get KO wins, and get submission wins. He has more paths, and I do think he is the rightful favorite. So I know for sure that there are a lot of question marks, and Maness is not really a guy you want to go out there and bet against, considering he is a dog. The more skilled fighter, the guy who is the A side here, and the guy more powerful in my opinion, is Mateus de Mendonca, and I do think he wins this fight at a high clip. With that being said, do I want to lay the chalk? Do I want to parlay him? Not very much. Instead, maybe DraftKings is the way to go. 9K, a very explosive guy who has these finishes in his own right. 6 of his 10 wins coming in the very, very first round. I do think he has the ability to capitalize. Also, Maness, who can be hit, who can be dropped in this weight class, and maybe isn't the best for him at all times. So I do think at 9K, he does have some upside. But Maness at 7.2 is that GBP play, right? His path to victory is probably related to that KO. It's probably him using that size, range, and knockout power, or being a dog and going out there and throwing a ton of volume. Either way, the winner of this fight should score very well, and I am leaning towards the Mendonca side. There are some dogs to like, so maybe you won't get to Maness, but he is a viable option if you're looking for a punt play. Should be a very, very fun fight. I am taking Mendonca though. We continue with the 12-2 Kanako Murata making a return against the 9-5 Vanessa Demopoulus. And you guys know that I have this issue where if we talk about all the bad WMMA fighters I bet on, I probably bet on Demopoulus the most. And that's the funny part, is I don't think she's that good. I bet on her 4 times, and I'm 3-1 betting her because she is an absolute dog. Like, she is someone who will go forward, who has no defense whatsoever, who is going to definitely have some brain issues as she gets older because she's super durable, absorbs a lot of damage, but will just fight for your money. I mean, she'll go forward. She's super tough, and she'll continue to throw volume. She'll continue to be the aggressor and continue to be a potent fighter. Not the best striker, not the best offensive wrestler, but a ton of volume, a ton of durability, and a very, very credible ground game. And there's a ton of things to like about that, right? Someone you want to trust, little monster, you want to cheer for her, she'll jump into Joe Rogan's arms, cool. This isn't really the matchup for that, right? Like, Kanako Murata, you do the tape, you watch her, man, is she powerful. Like, incredible wrestler. And although I talked about how decent Demopoulus' ground game is, she's content playing off bottom, and she can be taken down at will. So to me, when I have to pick a winner here, it's Kanako Murata. She's someone who I think has the clear path to victory, take down Demopoulus, control her there for all 15 minutes, land some ground and pound, look to finish this fight because she is so dominant, and I do think she's going to be much stronger in this matchup. But am I playing her at this price tag? Like, considering she's off this layoff. Demopoulus is such a dog and hungry for a win. Considering a weaker level of competition, let's say for Murata, there are reasons not to want to go out there and lay the huge juice price tag on Murata. But when it comes to DraftKings, this fight's really sneaky, right? I mean, Murata landed 3 takedowns against Marcos, and I do think she can be able to land even more than that against Demopoulus, who is content to stay on bottom position. I do think she has incredible GBP upside at 8.9K, because her path to victory in any fight she really goes out there to fight is ground game, ground and pound, look to smash her way to a finished victory from top position. And I do think that's something you want to back from a draft perspective. But on the flip side of things, like I always make the case for, which is probably not good long term, but Vanessa Demopoulus is that kind of DraftKings archetype you want. Someone who is hard to finish, so she has a decent floor, and someone who will fight all 15 minutes no matter what's thrown at her, right? If she goes out there, she's winning this fight, it's probably due to a Hail Mary submission from guard or a decision where she throws a ton of volume, upsetting the prospect here who is the much better athlete. So yeah, Murata should win. She has all the tools, she has the path, she's the pick for me, but Demopoulus will put up a fight. Both of these girls are viable DraftKings play, and it should be a decently fun fight considering the aggression of Demopoulus. But give me Murata, she should get it done, she should get back on track here, and I think it's a fun fight target on DraftKings as well. Speaking of fun fights on DraftKings, 12-3 Johnny Munoz Jr., 24-11 Aoriqileng. Aoriqileng getting knocked out for the first time by Aman Zahabi, Canadian fighter at that Canadian card there. Unexpected. I think I ended up picking him in that matchup because, but he did get knocked out very first time, and that's kind of a red flag considering he is someone who absorbs a lot of damage, and you really want that durability inside of things, especially in this matchup here, right? Johnny Munoz Jr., guy coming at him who is super explosive, super fun, 75% finish rate. Like, the guy is a dangerous fighter for wherever this fight goes, and I think having that durability in question is not something you want to have long term for Aoriqileng. In this matchup, though, maybe not so much, because it does seem like the far crisper striker here is going to be Aoriqileng. I mean, Johnny Munoz Jr. doesn't really like to always fight in the feet. Against lower level competition, sure, he can go out there and do that, but against Willie Cat, I mean, pulling guard every 5 seconds. Being knocked out by Tony Gravely in like a minute by a power jab there. Being dropped by Janie Simmons. I mean, the guy can be hit, can be dropped, and if he's not facing a complete bum on the feet, is probably going to lose the striking exchanges. Where Munoz Jr. excels the most is that ground game, and there's no debating his ground game is absolutely insane. 1.95 takedowns landed per 15 minutes. He's trying to get that fight there. He knows he has a very, very good ground game, and he's trying to utilize that here to his advantage. And that's probably going to be his best path to victory here. I mean, Aoriqileng is 0-3 to the submission. He has been submitted 3 times against lesser competition. I do think on the ground, it's Munoz's world. But it's not that easy. I mean, on the feet, Aoriqileng averages over 6 strikes landed per minute. The guy is aggressive. The guy has some decent hands, and he'll probably be able to put out the chin of Johnny Munoz the same way that people have done to him before. So it's pretty simple. Striker versus grappler. Better ground game for Munoz. Better striker for Aoriqileng. What side do I like? You guys know I like my grapplers. I might slightly lean towards Munoz because I think the advantage in the ground is larger than the advantage in the feet because Munoz is competent. He's just not the best defensively. But there's one way I like this fight, and it's the under. I mean, that's probably my favorite bet of the card so far. Minus 125 under 2.5. I'll be taking that all day. I do think it has an opportunity for violence, whether it be the KO from Aoriqileng, whether it be the submission from Munoz. Should be very fun, and it leads to a fun DraftKings target. 8,000 and 8.2. You can get to any of them, really. And I think that their path to victories are correlated to that. Sure, a control-based decision for Munoz, potentially, but he is a finisher at heart. And Aoriqileng, with that volume, with that power, he's put up good scores before, scoring 125 before in a win versus else. This has all the makings of a very fun fight. Gun to my head, let's pick Munoz. Grappler. I like my grapplers. But it should be very close. Kind of a coin flip fight due to their defensive issues, but it should be a fun one for as long as it lasts. We keep it moving with the 15-7 Karolina Kowalkiewicz versus the 15-7 Diana Belbita. Yeah, Karolina Kowalkiewicz. I mean, if anything, she makes me use all the letters on my keyboard. Helps me pretty good that way when I type out her names in these timestamps. But someone who's had a little bit of a resurgence, right? Many losses in a row. After losing 5 in a row, she's won her last 3. So all power to her. Gone some favorable matchups, and it's not like this matchup's too hard for her either. She is favored here as well, but it's hard to judge her. I mean, she was someone who was primarily a striker, throwing in some grappling game, has been working with a new camp to have that success in her own right. We've seen a cool version of her, someone who's able to have success, and she's taken on someone I really like here in Diana Belbita. And Canadian fighter, training with Canadian fighters at least. She does have the Romanian flag, I think, but she is a Canadian, lives there, trains with a good camp in her own right. Is someone I like to back. In this matchup, although Karolina's going to have a big experience edge, there's some red flags, right? Yeah, she got 3 wins, but against some pretty low competition. So Vanna Gomez-Juarez, don't get me started there. Clear victory for anyone who can shoot a takedown. Vanessa Demopoulus, I mean, it's Demopoulus. We talked about her already. I did bet on Demopoulus there if it tells you anything. And then Felice Herrick, who retired after that fight. Yes, she's winning fights, but no one who's really putting up a ton of resistance. And Diana Belbita is someone who I love her aggression. Belbita's going to be younger. She's going to be training with a good camp. I think she's hungrier in this matchup here, and she has just more ways to get it done. On the feet, Kowalkiewicz is going to be the better technical striker. There's no question about it, but I just love the aggression from Belbita. I love the ability for her to go forward, throw volume. Maybe not the prettiest way of doing so, but good durability, good ability to walk forward, and then she has that ground game in her pocket to use as well. Averages 6.6 strikes landed per minute and then 0.72 takedowns for 15 minutes. I love her aggression. I love her volume and optics in that regard. And I do think this fight comes down to who's the stronger fighter, who wants it more, who has the ability to work in the clinch, maybe land the takedowns to steal the round. Because I do think this fight can be competitive. And although maybe you have to give a slight edge to Karolina, I can't pick her at this big of a favorite. I mean, there are red flags in her own regard. I do think she could have some success. I wouldn't be surprised if she won this fight, but I'm going to pick Belbita here. I do think this line's wide. I do think she has the ability to mix it up, be the more aggressive fighter, and come in with a solid game plan. And I do think if she's able to go do that, she's a very good capability of being a live fighter here at 7.6K, trying to send Karolina back to the losing column there. So maybe Belbita, maybe not the prettiest pick, maybe not with the most conviction, but I think the line's off. I think it should be closer to 50-50. And if anything, give me 51% Belbita. DraftKings-wise, it's tricky because on paper it doesn't look good. Expect it to go long. Maybe the volume is there for Belbita, but Kowalkiewicz is content keeping it at range. So this is maybe more contrarian play. If Kowalkiewicz is able to go out there and tee off on someone who doesn't defend strikes as well as Belbita, or maybe go out there and look to implement takedowns, she could have success. Whereas I think the better option is probably Belbita. In her wins as underdogs, she's had the ability to go out there, score 90, score 88 in her 2 wins so far in the UFC, both as underdogs. And I do think that would be content to have some success here. New Belbita, sneaky fight on DraftKings, maybe not my most owned fight for sure, but a very interesting fight, and I will be cheering for the Canadian roots. On to the main card, 17-7 Bill Algeo versus the 14-6 Alexander Hernandez. Simple breakdown, right? Every time Alexander Hernandez fights, he needs to get his fighter out of there in the very first round, right? He goes out there, he's cutting back down to 145, very explosive, has the power, knocked out Beneil Dariush, knocked out Mike Bruden. I mean, he has the ability to get these in finishes early, but if he can, he fades. I mean, he is a very front-loaded fighter, super well-defined, like great muscles, great explosiveness early on. But aside from that, cardio is a question mark. Durability is a question mark. Heart is a question mark. And he's facing his literal opposite. I mean, Bill Algeo is not the most technical fighter, but he's a dog, man. I've said that about a few fighters so far, but Bill Algeo is a dog. He wants that fight more than you can almost promise it. He'll battle through adversity. That's what you like to see. He has insane cardio, great volume, good takedown upside as well. And it's pretty simple. Who gets off in their game plan? Does Hernandez finish him early, or does Algeo finish him late? For that reason, the under is live here as well. But I got to pick Bill Algeo. I mean, Alexander Hernandez has not showed success cutting down weight. He has not shown the ability to keep up pace with Bill Algeo. He has not shown the ability to go out there and win too many decisive minutes if he's not bullying his opponents on the mat or with knockout power. If I don't think he's knocking out Bill Algeo, what's his path to victory? Probably constant takedown upside. Yes, Bill Algeo can be taken down. I completely agree. And of course, the path to victory. But enough at this price tag here, like I think that's a very slim path for someone who gasses out so much against someone in Algeo who has a pretty good get-up game and who will make Hernandez work. So I'm picking Bill Algeo. He's actually one of my favorite plays on the slate just because although Hernandez is very live early, I don't think that possibility of an early finish is any indication above 35% at most. And I do think Bill Algeo should take over with volume, with pressure, and break him the same way Billy Quarantillo did. And it's kind of funny, same name, both Bill versus Bill, and both very fun fighters. Algeo lands 6 strikes per minute. I do think that's going to be enough to go out there and test the gas tank of Hernandez. Give me Bill Algeo, give me the under. And on DraftKings, this fight's a smash play. I mean, right? Hernandez, when he wins fights, aside from that Jim Miller one, which was interesting, he scored 108 against Breeden, 111 versus Grudemacher, 92 against Omer Mercier, and then we're not going to mention that Ronaldo fight. Algeo, when he's winning, 116 against Brown, 106 against Burns, 88 against Brito, which is aged very, very well, and 85 against Carlisle. He has the ability to go out there, use a ton of volume, go out there and let him have success. I do think he's able to break Hernandez late, having a decent ceiling as well. I love this fight on DraftKings. It should be a very fun fight to watch in general. I just think Bill Algeo gets his better game plan off. However, not a lot considering how dangerous Hernandez is early, but either way, super fun matchup. Give me Bill Algeo. Main card continues with 205 scrap, 17-5 Felipe Lins, 17-9-1 Ion Cutelaba. Yeah, same matchup, like exact same thing, right? Cutelaba, round winner bust. No heart, no determination, has wins over the low of competition, but yeah. Whereas Felipe Lins, a guy who, okay, you can't really compare him to Bill Algeo, but at least Cutelaba and Hernandez are the same, right? Okay. Felipe Lins, since coming down to 205, has looked better, right? He looked awful in the UFC 265, did great at PFL, but you saw it probably caught on to him at 265. His heart wasn't in it. He looked horrible. But he's kind of getting his footing back here. 3 consecutive wins, 2 of them coming by decision. And when you're winning fights by decision and you have the ability to go 3 rounds and you're facing one Cutelaba, you kind of have an advantage there already. Again, this fight's really simple. Ion Cutelaba looks like a beast in the first 3 minutes. Good takedown upside, good power, good aggression. He's fun. But when he doesn't get that finish, he fades. And in this matchup here, I am shocked to see Cutelaba as the favorite here, man. I don't believe it. Yes, Felipe Lins is not someone you can trust, right? Who looked horrible at heavyweight, has looked better since coming down, but still fought a level of competition. And there's 100% a world where Cutelaba gets an early finish, right? He could do it. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. But north of a 55% indication, almost 60% of the time, no. I think it's more like 35% of the time, 40% of the time. And for that reason, I have to give Lins the edge. I think he's not only going to be the bigger fighter who used to fight at heavyweight, but I think he has the better overall jiu-jitsu game. I think he's the better technical striker on the feet, and he has the cardio to go 15 minutes. And at this point in time, he probably wants it more. So this kind of bet's going to come down to the weigh-ins. I mean, if Lins looks horrible on the scales like he used to at 265, won't play him. But the Lins who showed up recently, although I hate him a bit, should beat Cutelaba at a high clip. And that's just my thought process on that. Again, like I said, Cutelaba in the first 5 minutes looks great. Could go out there and nuke Lins. Not at a high indication. Instead, give me Lins, better technical fighter, probably wants it more, and anybody with cardio can go out there and beat Cutelaba. I think the physicality of Lins really helps him here, and he is a very, very confident underdog. You know, maybe not confident is the best word, but if you look at these fighters, and usually I go out there and I'm pretty tentative, I tell you guys, I'll be honest, I'm not sugarcoating anything. I don't think Lins should be the underdog here. I will be betting him, especially if he looks good this weekend. DraftKings-wise, give me this fight all day, man, all day. Lins at 7.9K. I mean, anybody facing Cutelaba has the opportunity for a round 2, round 3 finish, maybe even round 1. And considering his size and ability to finish it before, I like his chance to do so, especially at underdog price tag 7.9. Go 132 against St. Preux when he's able to get a finish there. I think anyone who goes against Cutelaba is able to have success. Very, 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 very solid underdog there. Flip side of things, what's Cutelaba's win condition? Round 1 finish, 8.3K, scores very well and he does so. 107 against Bozer, 127 against Clark, 118 against Roundtree. Good for you, man. Good for you. Those are some solid numbers. I really like his aggression, and it bodes well for DraftKings. But don't think it's a good trustworthy play at chalk, especially the favorite price tag. So give me Linz, but great fight on DraftKings. Should be a fun one. And then keep it going. The stellar looking Drew Dober, 26-12 versus the 22-7-2 Aoriqileng. Interesting matchup. Huge favorite price tag on Drew Dober, and I don't want to spend too much time on this one because I talk enough as it is, and it's not necessarily the one who needs the biggest breakdown. Glenn hasn't looked the best point of his career, and sure, Drew Dober hasn't either. Knockout lost last time, but he's fighting this elite level of competition, and Glenn is just reaching a point where it's hard to trust him. Now, to the point where this line is this wide, maybe not. Drew Dober, 9.5K on DraftKings, minus 450 in the money line. Maybe not the best look considering he can be knocked out, he can be hit at a high clip, but he's going to be the way more aggressive fighter. I think he's going to have the physicality edge here, and he's got a ton of power, and we've just seen Glenn knocked out very early on. He didn't look good last time out. Yeah, the third round against Dawson was cool, but long layoff. He hasn't won a fight since 2021, fought low-level competition to be able to do so. I don't know. It's kind of hard to pick Aoriqileng because he either looks amazing or he looks like he just rolled off the couch. We don't know which version of him we're going to get, but I think it's one to get Dober back on track. He's fought the best of the best. He's gone out there, had KO ability, and I think that he's going to continue walking forward unless you turn his lights out, and I don't think Glenn's the type of guy to turn his lights out early on. So give me Dober to take over, give me him to use his volume. Problem is at 9.5K, I've already mentioned a ton of fighters I like. It's hard for me to get to him. However, he does have some good GBP upside. Glenn could as well, considering Dober's chin apparently can be cracked, but it isn't actually my highest profile matchup. There are a lot of fighters with good opportunities coming up that we haven't even talked about, so maybe I'll get to them, but give me Dober to win. Hard fight to get to considering his salary on DraftKings, but he should get it done. Let's keep it rolling. Fun one here, 23-8 Alex Morono versus the 16-6 Joaquin Buckley. Hardest fight for me to call on the card. I'll put it right there. Buckley, he looks like he's turning a corner, right? Phenomenal athlete. If this was a matchup of who's a better athlete, Buckley, all day. But if it comes down to the matchup of who's a smarter fighter, who has more tools, I think it's Morono. And guys, I'm not the biggest Morono fan, I'll be honest, but he's very well rounded. I think he's a smart fighter, and he has the ability to utilize his full weaponry to have success. Buckley has looked better. Very powerful striker, uses grappling a bit in previous bouts, and he looks like he's shoring up his takedown defense, having better success in that regard, but his chin's questionable, his ground game was questionable. His cardio used to be questionable, I don't know how it is now, but there are question marks around him. Yes, he's turning a corner and he has looked great. A close fight against Imavov, a KO win against Fialio, a KO win against Duraev. Yeah, that's amazing, but I don't know if it's enough to put him at this price tag. Morono's facing the best of the best, and yes, he's getting knocked out sometimes. Ponzinibbio caught him, but that's in a fight he was winning. He could very easily be on a 6-fight win streak right now. He looked great against Means, fought through adversity in a lot of his battles, and although he's not the most explosive athlete, he's winning these fights to the punch. He's winning these speed battles. He's going out there and having success, having good volume, incredible cardio, has the ability to mix it up on the ground as well, which I think he could do here, and has fought a better level of competition. I think he has overall more well-rounded skill set. With that being said, both these guys' chins can't always be trusted. Buckley does have a ton of power, and overall it's a really hard one to call. And when it's this hard to call, when I'm debating both sides, you go with the underdog. And I think I'm gonna have to go with Alex Morono here, considering his price tag, considering I think he has a better level of competition and more well-versed and more ways to win this fight. I'm gonna pick him here, but if Buckley was going to use his athleticism to win them this fight, wouldn't be surprised. But I kind of like Morono here. It's weird for me to say. I don't think I'll get to the window. I don't think I'm as confident with him as I am with a Linz. I think the line should be closer. But Buckley's not really a guy I want to go out there and bet against sometimes, considering the chin issues of Morono. But I'm a bit surprised by the line. Should be a fun fight. I'm going to pick Morono here. I think he's a very live underdog on DraftKings, considering his path to victory. And considering both these guys have been chin-tricked before, they're both live opportunities to go out there and score well, put up good DraftKings scores with that knockout, but I think they're better options. Around Buckley, I'd rather have an Algeo or a Murata or a Pyfer. So that kind of leads me towards the Morono side down low. But another fun fight. Maybe won't get to it the most of the time on DraftKings, but I'm leaning towards the dog here in Morono. Co-main, 11-2 Joe Pyfer, 12-5 Abdul Razak Alhassan. I love Joe Pyfer. Body bags, fun guy to watch. General Contender Series, be like Joe Pyfer. Biggest bet of my entire life was on Joe Pyfer last time. I love the guy. Actually, not last time. It was against Amidovsky. I put some respect on him, sure. But Pyfer's a money train right now. Hype train, third fight in the UFC, co-main event, 2 first-round knockout. Good for him. Super fun guy to watch. Very explosive, a ton of power, ton of technicality. Very good ground game, good physicality as well. But it's not like he's perfect. He can be hit. I think a volume guy in the future who has durability could cause him issues. Can be taken down. He's not perfect, but I do think he should win this fight here. And I do think he has the ability to go out there and have some success. Fun fighter, extremely powerful. I think he's very, very technically sound as well. Better ground game in this matchup. Should be favored. But when you look at a guy like Abdul Razak Alhassan, what does he have? First round power, first round finish upside. And against a guy who gets hit as much as Pyfer, you have to be cautious. I don't know if I have that same confidence with Pyfer did last time, but I do think he still wins this at a very, very high clip. But like I've said, unfortunately, a bunch, it's going to be hard for me to narrow it down. Another fight you want on DraftKings. I mean, Pyfer 9.3K, a ton of power and finish upside and grappling upside. I think he wins this fight at a very high clip, and I do want him at 9.3. But what's Abdul's win condition? 6.9K, it's finding a KO, and I don't think it's too likely, but under the chance it does happen, it will score very, very well. I am picking Pyfer, but I'm cautious of that knockout outside of Alhassan here, and for that reason, maybe I won't go out there and parlay Pyfer like I maybe thought I would, but I still think he wins this at a high clip. They're trying to prop him up here. You want to be like Joe Pyfer, and I do think he gets it done this weekend. Fun co-main event. And the main event here, 21-1 Grant Dawson, 30-14-1 Bobby Green. Big favorite here in the main event. Questionable main event here, but interesting, right? Grant Dawson has looked amazing since changing camps, and I mean, he really proved me wrong last time against Magulov. I picked his Magulov, and Dawson dummied him. He looked amazing doing so. And the problem with Dawson has not been his heart or determination, it's been his cardio. I mean, drawing against Aoriqileng, that's kind of been looming in everyone's mind. And the one thing Bobby Green does have is cardio, and he's a dog. He's going to go out there and have success. But this really does seem like a matchup that Grant Dawson should win. Grappling upside, takedown upside, resilient. I mean, we saw Green taking down control before. I do think that path is there for Dawson. Yes, on the feet, Green's going to be the better technical striker. I mean, although Dawson has shown improvements there, there's no doubt about it that King's better on the feet at least, but Dawson's not going to play around the feet. He shoots takedowns early, he shoots them often, and he has success doing so. 3.7 takedowns landed per 15 minutes. I mean, those are numbers you love to see. 9.4K in his wins. He scored 90, 103, 123, 89, 100, 104, 106. Those are solid wins, and those are all in 3-round events. If he's solid up his cardio, 9.4K, he has 130, 140 point upside. I'm not lying. The question is that if, right? Like, yes, I'm picking Grant Dawson to win. He has that path to victory. I think he wins this fight. How does he lose, though? Gassing out. I mean, maybe fighting the feet with Green for longer than he should. The problem in that, though, is just Green's not a power puncher. He also doesn't have the best, he doesn't push enough of a pace that I want to tire out Dawson, and for that reason, I do think Dawson comes prepared, and I do think he wins this fight at a high clip. 9.4K, he does have upside. Green, I'm not getting too often because his win condition is a late finish with not much success early on, and considering how much I think Dawson's going to put him on his ass, hard for me to trust him. So give me Dawson, younger fighter, looking to prop up. I do think he has success here. Camp change has done it well, and I do think he uses grappling to win this fight here. But that's going to do it for me here on the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. Let me quickly run through my quick picks. I'm taking Grant Dawson, the main event, Joe Pyfer, Alex Morono, Drew Dober, Felipe Lins, Bill Algeo, Diana Belbita, Montel Jackson, Johnny Munoz Jr., Kanako Murata, Mateus Mendonca, and Montana De La Rosa. DraftKings-wise, there are a ton of good options. Let me quickly roll off the fights I want to target and I'll have higher exposure to. That's the Pyfer Alhassan fight, the Algeo Hernandez, the Cutelaba Lins, and the Aoriqileng Munoz fight. Those are 4 fights I really want to target this week. But individually, I mean, Dawson has a really good opportunity to go out there, land takedowns, 5-round main event, has success. Mendonca and Maness, 2 guys who have KO power, whose win condition is probably largely dedicated to a finish. Murata, Demopoulus should be high pace. Murata's a very, very sneaky option, 8.9K. Considering all the studs we have in this card, she's going to go overlooked with that huge grappling upside. And then down low, the dogs for me this week are Lins, Belbita, Morono, and Munoz. Really, those are the ones I really like. And then GPP-wise, want to get really risky. Alhassan's path to victory scores well. Demopoulus upside at low ownership. And anytime you take Hernandez, it's coming with risk as well. Reignmakers-wise, almost too many options to pick. I do like I guess let's say the highest ceilings in this slate for me are going to be Dawson, maybe Murata with that takedown upside, Pyfer for sure, and then the winner of the 3 fights in this mid-range. I mean, these 3 fights are going to be the make or break for me because they are so close. Algeo Hernandez, Cutelaba Lins, and Aoriqileng Munoz. I'm picking Algeo with confidence. I love Lins as an underdog, and then it's 50-53 Aoriqileng and Munoz, so take with that what you will. DraftKings-wise, I love the under in the Munoz-Aoriqileng fight. Might get there on Lins money line, might get there on Morono money line, might get there on Belbita underdog. I do like some dogs this week. And any final plays I do play will be posted at Gordo Gambles on Twitter. Be sure to check that out. Once again, that's going to do it for me here on the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. Hit the like button down below, subscribe to the channel. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. Show some love if you did indeed. I hope everyone enjoys the fight this weekend. Best of luck in all your DraftKings and betting endeavors. Let's make some money, guys.